Today we're going to show you how to change the dispenser water line on your refrigerator, and it's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a putty knife, a 1/4-inch nut driver, and a sharp utility knife. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, since we will be working near some electrical circuits, we suggest that you unplug the refrigerator. So simply just pull the plug from the wall. Then next we're going to pull out the little drip tray on the bottom of the dispenser and set that aside. And then with a stiff putty knife, we're going to just gently go into that opening while pulling down on that escutcheon. Now with the bottom released, we can just lift up on that escutcheon and pivoting around. Release the locking tab on the wire harness and pull it away. And you'll note the 3 hooks on top of the escutcheon that engage 3 rectangular slots at the top of the mounting bracket, and the 2 clips on the bottom that will engage the matching clips on the escutcheon. Now next you'll notice 2 little plastic locking tabs on the side of the dispenser. And just release those, and we can tilt that up and away. The water line is located over here on the right hand side through a little mounting bracket, and that's held in place with a 1/4-inch hex head screw. So we'll remove that screw. Then you can just slide that bracket forward, and then that will allow us to remove the tubing from it. Now our next step will be to remove the lower kick plate and disconnect the water line at the bottom. We'll just open one of the doors, and we'll take our putty knife and we'll slide it in between the top of that toe panel and the face of the refrigerator, and just pry that out away from it, closer to one of the edges. And we can do the same on the freezer side as well. We can close those doors up. That toe panel is held in place with an arrowhead clip on both sides that fit into a little spring type receptor. Well, next we're going to reach in underneath, locate the water line going up to the door. There'll be a collet there that has a little collar on one end of it that we will depress, pull it away from the water line. Now there's going to be some water in that line, so there'll be a little bit that will spill. So I have something there to sop that up. We'll pull that water line free. And then we can remove it from the top. So we're just going to grasp that water line and the bracket, and we're going to pull straight up on it. And we'll pull it completely out of the freezer door. To reinstall the new water line, we find it a little easier if you feed it up through from the bottom. So locate the hole in the bottom of the lower hinge, and then just slowly feed that tubing all the way up. If you do meet some resistance, just pull it back and give it a little twist, and then try again. Don't force it. Now once it comes out through the top here, just peel that forward so that it doesn't kink. And you can pull some of the excess through. Then next we're going to take note of how much of that tubing protrudes past the end of the mounting bracket, and actually how that is situated on there. We remove the old tubing, and then duplicate that process with the new tubing, making sure that we don't get any kinks in it. And we'll pull that excess back down through from the bottom. And line the bracket up with the mounting tab. Again, make sure that there's no strain on that tubing. We can then replace that 1/4-inch hex head screw. We can then reposition the cover. Making sure that the switches will engage with the 2 levers and that nothing is impeding that. Just spread open those little locking tabs. Now to reinstall that cover, I'm going to make sure that that top edge fits up under. There's 4 little notches there that it will fit into. Make sure we line those up before we pivot it into position. And that will ensure that the switches line up with the levers. And then just pivot it down until the 2 locking tabs on the side engage. You can check the operation of the paddles. You should hear the micro switches activate. Next, we can put the escutcheon back in place. So we'll start by reconnecting the wire harness, making sure that the locking tab lines up and engages. And then we'll line up the 3 tabs across the top. Make sure it sits flushed across the top, and then snap the bottom into position. And then we can reinstall the drip tray. Now with the tubing attached in the dispenser, we can trim off the excess here on the bottom. So we're just going to do a measurement of how much tubing we'll need. We don't want to have too much that we end up getting a kink. Now the important thing is to get a nice straight cut on that tubing. So using a razor sharp knife, just going to make a nice square cut right through the tubing. Check for any burrs. And then we'll reconnect to that collet. So we're simply going to push that in until it bottoms out. And pull back on it, make sure it's engaged. And we can tuck it back in underneath. And we're ready to put the toe panel back on. Now with the kick plate back in position, we're ready to push the refrigerator back into its spot, reconnect the power, and our repair is complete.